I got my photos published for the first time. I'm not a photojournalist, but I'm trying to be one. The day I went to shoot, I wrote a few things on my journal, a few things that I had to remember, and this is the story how I got these photos on the papers. One of the first things that I wrote here is to be very friendly and introduce yourself when you arrive to an event. To not be a weirdo, to not be a stranger, just to go to people and introduce yourself. The second thing that I wrote here is to arrive early. You never know what's gonna happen. Sometimes you don't even know the location of the event. I shot other things before that I had to get 3 different buses because people were sending me to the wrong place. So I made sure I got the address correctly, and then I was there at least an hour earlier than everybody just to see how the place is, who was there. And I also think it's very important, always do some research, know who you're gonna photograph. Just don't go out there not knowing what's gonna happen. Because I did my research before, I knew one of the organizers. So I arrived early there, and then I went straight to him and I said my name, I introduced myself, I said that I was working for the papers. Just because I didn't want to make this weird environment, like who was I, what I was doing there. I think it's important to let people know who you are if you're going to be around for 3, 4, 5 hours shooting, so people just get familiar with you and they're not thinking, who is this guy, why does he has a camera here? Another thing that I think is very important, always make sure to get 3 things. You always have to get a wide shot, a mid shot, and a close shot. I think when you're trying to tell a story as a photographer, it's very important that you can have those 3 type of shots. When those stories go to the papers, they need to show an overall view of the whole event, the whole street, what's happening around. A mid shot to give a little bit of more context, and then a close shot, so then you can give a little bit more of detail. Those 3 things I think are the most important when you're talking about documentary photography or even photojournalism. Most type of photography, to be honest, make sure to get those 3 points. Another thing that it was extremely important to me, I went there with the mentality to overshoot. I wasn't thinking about working quick. I wasn't thinking about just getting 100 shots and leaving it. In my head, I was like, overshoot everything. Make sure you get those shots, which is really hard coming from someone that shoots a lot of film. When I'm shooting digital, I just had to think different. I even spray a little bit when there was a little bit of action because I want to make sure that I had those shots, that I wasn't missing anything. The gear that I used to make those photographs, I use my A7C1, and I also use this lens. This is a Sigma Art 2 2.8. This is a 24-70. So I felt with that lens I could cover most things. I wish I had a 70-200, but I don't have that lens. And to be honest, I don't really think I need that at the moment. In future, when I need, I might get a 70-200. I think this is a simple kit that every photojournalist is running at the moment. Another thing that was very important was to take the established shots. I was covering a World Cup party, so basically the event was, there was a whole street, and in that street everybody got a flag for the countries that were going for the World Cup, and they had to dress themselves or represent those countries. So I knew I had to get people in those costumes. I knew I had to get shots of the whole street. Again, to give an idea of place, time, what is happening, and get details of things like they had World Cup trophies. So there's another thing that connects with the whole street, with the flags. So those things were important. Always think about establishing shots, because those shots, they're usually gonna be the shots. Another thing that this is a very hard one for me, I do think you have to work for free. A lot of people, they don't like the idea of working for free, but come on, I'm just starting. I need to have my foot at the door. If I don't work for free, when am I gonna get the opportunity to make those shoots? We're already, if you're a documentary photographer, if you're a street photographer, I'm sure you love what I do and you're already working for yourself for free, kinda. So I think it's very important if you're starting, or at least for myself, I am starting. I need to work for free. I need to do those shoots for free. So I'm gonna explain you how this happened, how I got this assignment. I contacted my local news, I did a little bit of research, and I found their publisher, and I sent him a personal email, and I told him, hey look, I'm a photographer, I'm looking to get into photojournalism, and I'm happy to work for free. He got back to me, he introduced me to another photographer that worked with him, and this guy met me in person, and he's been trying to help me since then. He's actually helping me so much just out of his heart. And one thing that I learned that I feel like is still a little bit hard to dabble into it is that when you're offering work for free, you have to have on your mind that there are other photographers already working for those papers, and you don't want to step on anybody's toes, because those photographers, they're gonna be your friends, they're gonna give you assignments, they're gonna tell you what's happening in the city. So you have to have friends in the industry, which I agree, it's nice to have those friends. But at the same time, when you're starting and you're offering things and you're like, look, I'm happy to shoot no matter what, I just want to shoot. That's where I am at the moment. I just want to go out there and shoot. It's kind of hard because I don't want to take anybody's work, but at the same time, I need to start and I need to be there and I need to make those photographs happen. But I'm still learning where should I stand on that, because again, I need to make friends. I think the most important things in this work is to have photographer friends. Another thing that I think is very helpful if you're starting, go out, shoot, protest, things that are happening in your area, and look for who's photographing there. If you're shy, that can be pretty hard, but try to be brave and say hello to those photographers. You're always gonna see press photographers at those events, and what I'm trying to do here in my city is just to go to those guys and introduce myself. Again, it is hard sometimes because it's an uncomfortable thing. You need to make this network, but you have to do it. It's something that for me has been really hard, I'm not gonna lie. But I do try to be brave and introduce myself and make friends with those people. And you're also gonna end up making some nice friends that like the same thing as you, which I think is very important. And this can lead to work, this can lead to friendship. So don't always just think about work. You can also think about growing and being a better photographer. I also think when you're in the field, when you're taking photographs, it is very hard to not start repeating yourself. If you're there for 3, 4, 5 hours, it is very hard. And you have to take your time. You have to stop, maybe look at your photographs, give it a time and start thinking different. Start thinking, what did I not get here? Because it's important to have a variety of a lot of different shots. You will start repeating yourself after an hour or two. That's fact. So always try to stop, have a break, and think what's happening, and try to think of a variety. That's one of the most important things as well when you're out there shooting. And one of the last things that I wrote here is to make friends in the field. If you're out there, I know I said that before, but make sure to talk to people, make sure to introduce yourself. It's always good to have those friendships, and they're always gonna give you new leads, they're always gonna give you more information, and that has been very helpful for me on my journey. And also, always think about trying to make your own style. I know when you're working for a company or when you're doing photojournalist, sometimes there is a look or something that they are looking for, but always make sure to take photographs for yourself as well. You're already there, so you're not losing anything really. So even though I was shooting for the papers, I was also trying to make work for myself because I'm also a documentarian, I'm also a street photographer, so I'm not gonna lose the opportunity. I am already there, so I try my best to make work for myself too. One thing that happened in the end that I wasn't expecting is when I sent all my photos to my editor, I had my favorite ones and the ones that I liked, and that is what I would publish. But when I saw the photos that they publish, when I saw they're very simple photos, they're not something brilliant, but you have to understand that not always people are going to choose the photos that you like or the photos that you consider to be the best. A lot of the time they have to think on their viewer and who is reading their papers, who is watching what they're publishing. So sometimes they're going to choose something simple and easy to digest, Not every piece of content, not every photograph is easy to understand. If you're a photographer, you know that yourself. Sometimes a photograph with very complicated composition not gonna be the best for the normal viewer. Sometimes they're gonna look at it and they're gonna think it's something messy. They're not gonna really understand or know how to read that photograph. It is okay to take photographs for photographers, but when you're doing that job, your editor is gonna choose something that they think their reader is gonna find easy enough to understand. That's what they wanna perceive, that's what they wanna tell them. They have to tell that story in a very easy manner. They're not thinking about a complicated shot. They're just thinking about translating what happened in the day. That's the story on how I got my first photograph published. I'm not a photojournalist yet, but I'm hoping and I'm working hard to get there, and I'm sure I'm gonna get there. It's just a matter of time and working harder and meeting more people and making this network and photographing more and more and more. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It always helps. Take photos every day. Thanks for watching.